Have you ever wondered if India is a rich or poor country? If you know that on August 23, 2023, India officially became one of the 5 countries that put a man on the moon, then you will know that this is not a poor country. Moreover, Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, is of Indian origin and many top talents in the field of information technology are from India. This further affirms the position and potential of this South Asian country. Notably, in the 2000s, India had only $9 billionaires. But to date, this number has increased to 119. However, that is only one side of the problem. If you pay closer attention, you will easily come across images of poverty, backwardness, and superstitious practices that still exist widely in India. This argument raises the question, why is there such a deep gap between rich and poor in Indian society? And what will this lead to? Let's explore this clip. The 2008 film Slumdog Millionaire realistically portrayed life in the slums of India. The main character, Jamal Malik, lost his mother in a religious riot and struggled to survive in a poor environment. Fate brought Jamal to the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where Jamal answered all the questions correctly to achieve the final result of 20 million rupees, equivalent to $400,000 Before answering the last question, the show announced a pause and continued the following week. However, Jamal was arrested and detained for questioning on suspicion of cheating. He confessed that his knowledge came from his real-life experience in the slums. The film, with its humane and sharp perspective, depicts social injustices, helping Slumdog Millionaire win the Oscar for Best Picture in 2008. Through this film, we see more clearly that the gap between rich and poor can exist anywhere. But it is especially profound in India. Although India has become the 5th largest economy in 2022, surpassing many countries such as the UK, France, Italy and Russia, its population, about 1.4 billion people, has become the 5th largest economy. GDP per capita is only over $2.100. This is something to ponder about this country. A place full of potential but also full of challenges. Did you know that India's GDP per capita is only in the top 120 in the world? However, this is only an average figure. The reality is that the huge gap between rich and poor has pushed the income of most Indians to below $500 a year. From 2018 to 2022, India produced 70 millionaires every day. But on the contrary, nearly 800 million people still have to rely on the government's food assistance program. For them, having enough to eat is a dream, let alone more luxuries. The capital New Delhi is the place with the most polarization between rich and poor today. A reality TV show once interviewed Nasreen Khatun, 32, who lives with her 2 children in a slum. She shared that her family always lived in intimate hunger. Some meals had milk, but lacked sugar. Some had sugar but no milk. Every night before going to bed, they did not know if they would have anything to eat the next day. When talking about her situation, Nasreen could not hold back her tears when she saw her children constantly complaining about hunger. She doesn't know how much longer she can last. But Nasreen's plight is not the most tragic. 5-year-old Sonia Kumari, from Uttar Pradesh, died after 15 days with little to eat. She and her family had spent more than 2 weeks begging for food. But they could only get a few biscuits from their neighbors, who were equally hungry. Sonia is just one of the percentage of children in India who go hungry every year. Sadly, 800 million Indians rely on government food assistance programs, which are often financially strapped. An estimated 100 million more people are in need of food aid but are not included. Nasreen Khatun's family is one of them. The government has pledged to add 10 million more people to the food aid list. But unfortunately, Nasreen is not one of the lucky ones. India, despite being one of the world's largest economies, is ranked 107th out of 121 countries in hunger in 2022, with alarming rates of malnutrition. In fact, more than a third of children in the country are malnourished. A third are stunted and show no signs of improvement. Many children are severely malnourished when their weight is too low for their height. These are of course life-threatening. And when poverty is so great, the main shelter for most Indians is the slums. In giant supermarkets like New Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, next to the skyscrapers, modern shopping centers are a contrasting image of the filthy, monotonous housing areas. There, people live together with rats, with a density of up to 1 million people in just 1 square kilometer, 20 times higher than in big cities like Paris or London. The electricity system in this area is very unstable. Clean water is only available for 2 hours a day and there is no wastewater treatment system. Waste is dumped directly into the canals. However, these slums are the source of life for millions of people. This is where small businesses develop, specializing in purchasing, recycling broken items or even sewing waste items to make clothes. Workers here work hard every day to earn only $1 to $3. However, there is not always work because the population is too large and the competition is too great. However, that is still lucky. There are people who are not healthy enough to compete for such a meager salary and fall into a state of constant hunger. And when hungry, they do not even have the strength to work. So they just wait to die. Waiting for support from the government is a luxury. Hundreds of millions of Indians are not even strong enough to compete for a subsidy ticket when they are almost breathing bones to survive. It is a paradoxical truth that India is one of the most powerful countries, with its economy and military always being at the top of the world. This is also home to more than 100 super-rich dollar billionaires, such as Musk's Ambani, Gautam Adani. Assets are always approaching the $100 billion mark. In fact, only 10% of the elite class of this country holds up to 77% of the country's total assets. Even if you add up the total assets of billionaires in India, it is higher than the entire budget of the whole country for hundreds of years. In 2014, a real estate tycoon in this country once ordered 60 Rolex watches worth tens of thousands of dollars each to send with a message inviting his daughter to marry. But that's just a small price compared to the tycoon Musk's Ambani, the richest billionaire in Asia, who owns a 27-story mansion worth $2 billion. This real estate is located on a 37.000 square meter plot of land, located in the south of Mumbai, one of the most expensive areas in the world. Its value is $2 billion. The second most expensive in the world after the British Royal Palace. This mansion only serves the owner Musk's Ambani, his wife and 3 children. The family's main living area is on the top floor because they mainly travel by helicopter. The house has 3 landing pads for convenient travel. One floor is arranged into a 50-seat movie theater. In addition, the other floors are also arranged into beauty salons, hair salons, gyms, ran over to Ferrari and BMW. Being able to serve in the family of these Indian tycoons is probably the craziest dream of hundreds of millions of poor people out there. So what is the cause of such great inequality? Because although India's subsidy programs are funded by many rich people, they are often underfunded. The main cause is the corruption of the government at all levels here. The inequality is when the poorest people are the ones who receive the least, even though they should be the top priority. Officials at all levels compete to cut every penny of subsidy, leaving those at the bottom of society with nothing. Tax injustice is another cause. Ironically, when the poor are taxed at a higher percentage than the rich, while taxes on businesses are being reduced, taxes on the poor are increasing. Typically, A person living in a slum pays the same tax as a millionaire when buying a packet of tofu. Religious, gender and social class discrimination also deepen the poverty gap. People born into a lower class will forever be considered lower class no matter how hard they try. That makes it very difficult for them to find jobs and receive benefits. That discrimination will stick with them for the rest of their lives. In addition, women after marriage will not have the right to own property. After marriage, they also do not have the right to shop or invest personally. Everything depends on their husbands. Unfortunately, if the two go to court for divorce, the woman will leave empty-handed and will fall into the poor class with no income. Poverty always leads to social evils. The rate of robbery and theft in slums in India is increasing. In this country, in particular, the percentage of women who are sexually abused is the highest in the world. People often see sad events in the news when girls are brutally sexually assaulted, leading to many victims dying. However, the evil enemies almost do not pay a heavy price. High taxes on the rich will be an option for the government to solve the problem of poverty. However, until this country solves the corruption that is deeply rooted in the political system, otherwise the tax money will not create any change. Thank you for watching the video.